Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Monday, October 6th City Council meeting. It is now 6 p.m. First thing we'd like to do is the prayer of invocation, which tonight will be done by Councilmember Banker.
Thank you. Our Father who art in heaven, as we come together tonight as council members for Bel Air Beach, let us keep aware we are trusted to serve your people with integrity, fairness, and correct any injustice we as council members have in our powers to do for your people. Please grant us clarity of mind and compassion. May our decisions reflect the best interest for all residents and contribute to the well-being of our city. Please keep safe our first responders. Let us keep in mind when a project has time restraints, we act quickly in the best interest of your people and not labor the issue. For is this not the reason why you chose only one man to build an ark and not a government body? In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. You know, this is something we've been doing, I guess, for about a couple of years, the prayer of invocation. I think it's a very good thing we've been doing, and I think Councilmember Banker does a great job volunteering for the prayer amongst some other people here on the council. So he always talks about the right things, and I believe, and I just want to thank you for that. Thank you, Frank. Now, please stand with me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is let's do roll call first. Do we have, you got it? Okay.
Okay. Councilmember Frank Banker. Here. Councilmember Kimberly Shaw Elliott.
Here.
Councilmember Todd Harper.
Here.
Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Here.
Councilmember Anders Wellens.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts.
Here.
Mayor Dave Gaddis.
Here.
He's remote. And City Manager Kyle Leifer, I'm here, and City Attorney Tom Dress.
Here.
Thank you, Kyle. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Need a motion?
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Is that Dave? Yeah. All right. So who seconded that? So I'm going to give the motion to Frank, and Mr. Mayor, you're going to second. Can you hear us?
Second.
All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. Second item is the presentation.
Call the vote on that. We have a first and a second. Call the vote.
Okay.
All in favor?
We'll just do a voice vote. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 All opposed? Passes unanimous. Second item, the presentation from Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening, Sergeant Min, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. I'd like to ask if there's anything on the office report specifically you guys have questions about.
Anybody?
I was looking at the office report. There's a larceny showing that was just researched, and it was discovered that it was a lawnmower left by the curbside, so possibly mistaken as free property or trash. Our arrest for the August report was 7, totaling mostly traffic misdemeanor offenses. Our deputies conducted 214 citations and warnings in the month of August. Most of the stops occurring just at Gulf and 4th Street. So, any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Code enforcement. Welcome back.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate that. Sarge, it's yours. I apologize. So for the month of September, luckily things are actually starting to slow down for us a little bit. Total right now, after we have been conducting labor's follow-ups,
For the month, I only had really 16 new cases. We did a lot of follow-ups and 43 follow-ups in order to try and close a bunch of cases, and I was able to close 28 cases. Right now, basically between open cases, which I only have 3, and other cases which we basically are describing in the new iWork system, which you have in the packets in front of you. Basically, those if they're slated for further investigation and or possibly we're holding them a little bit to try and give people time to finish up some projects and everything else before we go forward with a little more enforcement. But with that, we're totaling only, let's see, 11 cases with that. So we're actually doing very well this month. Things have started to slow down with the lawns. Things have gone very well as far as permitting. We had a couple of cases where, we found they didn't have permits and everything else, and we did a couple of stop work orders, and they were very compliant to understand, though there was a couple of projects they just didn't understand that they needed permits, and they were stopped in order to get permits through the city, and we've had good compliance all through the month with the citizens and understanding and everything. So a lot of house building going on through the city, which I think everybody knows. The companies are doing pretty well as far as we're trying to watch and make sure that the lots are staying cleaned up as much as we can with their equipment and items for building coming in and out and everything. So we're trying to watch that. So it's actually been a pretty good month and slowing down a little bit. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Again, welcome back. I am so sorry that you had to go through what you had to go through.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Not discriminating against your age, but
Yes, sir.
you went through your whole career with all your fingers. I mean, I just feel hard that you went through that. You do such a great job. The city loves you. I mean, you're so fair with everybody. It just is devastating to hear what happened.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
In addition to that, you have a great last name, but I have a question. The iReport, the new software system that we're using. So now you guys have been working with it for a little bit of time, especially with the storm stuff. How do you feel? Is that making things easier for you?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I like it. It makes it very easy for not only the city manager to see things on a daily basis, as opposed to you might be getting my report, towards the end of the week or however, or again now the monthly report, which is time consuming. I like the system because he can see it on a daily basis. I can see it on a daily basis, and I can also bring up very easily now what needs to be followed up, my open cases, as well as follow up on the other cases that have possibly, as you see, listed in their code violation reports. So I myself, I like it. I think it works very well, and obviously for the council, it gives you a lot of information. You can see a lot of the notes and everything, and all the follow-ups of what goes into a lot of these cases in order to finally get people to work with us and stuff. And going back to that, as you said, it's a lot of talking to people. I try to go out and knock on doors and talk to them and make them bad word. Get them to understand, where we sit as far as the ordinances and everything else. And a lot of times it's just getting together with people and talking it out and, hey, let's come up with a remedy that works for everybody.
Excellent. I know the council enjoys this report because, like you referenced, it gives us a lot of history instead of just a snapshot each month.
Yes, sir.
So we're able to look back and see where it came from and where it is today. So that's very valuable. The city manager and his staff enjoy using that software as well. So I wanted to make sure you felt it was effective for you and wasn't actually causing you more work. So thank you very much.
No, I believe it works very well, and I'm very happy with it. So as long as you guys are, I know it adds a lot of reading for the council, but that's why I've said in the past, when you're sitting down with your Sunday coffee, we'll have a lot of good reading instead of the newspaper.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, a couple of the streets have, where they've done the demos, they've done the house, and they've got these signs up, they're
some of them are like big billboards about that they just completed the job. How long are they allowed to keep those signs up?
If they still have a contract on the lots, we've been allowing them. I know that there are a couple of large signs, don't quote me, I think it's like 3rd or 4th Street. There's a couple of them down there and stuff, and we are working with that company to try to remove them.
Okay.
But if they still have a contract on the property, we would allow them to keep them.
Well, what does it mean they still have a contract? Like if the place is totally demoed and there's nothing left but grass there, is that the contract over then?
Not necessarily. Sometimes with the contracts and everything else, they're still working with further cleaning up the properties or however. Sometimes they're there to keep maintenance on the property still. So it depends on what the contract is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy, we currently have our sign ordinance in a stall or a pause, so technically they can keep them signs up indefinitely.
Yes,
I mean,
but,
if
yes, but we try not to have them keeping their signs up indefinitely.
I understand that, but if we got into a litigation matter, they probably win over us.
It's possible, but again, same thing. I've worked with a couple.
I understand, I appreciate that.
There's a couple of companies that say, oh, we forgot about them, but we're working with them to try and get them out of there if they're not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have something. So we just have a current code case that has been taken to a hearing, has been ordered to have a daily fine. It needs a roof replacement. So we learned that this property is now it's filed for foreclosure, so it looks as though it may foreclose. Right now, the fines have accumulated up to about $11,300 plus interest, and they'll continue to accumulate at $100 per day. I just would like to bring up for council's consideration. It's been expressed to me by neighbors in the surrounding area of this house that they believe that this has been a blight to the community, and it's been going on for so long now. Just a little history, the original roof problem started as far back as December 2022, and we acted by issuing a code violation notice back on March 7th, 2023. The property owner had corrected the issue, and then following the storms in 2024, there was more, the roof was old, so the issues returned to it. We cited it again, and then it led us to where we are now, having a daily fine. So just for council consideration, it's been asked that I bring up the idea of that the city gets involved to clean up the property prior to foreclosure. This would be an abatement to fix the roof out of city funds, and the residents are just emphasizing that it's a negative impact. This deteriorating house is, it's affecting the neighborhood appearance, it's decreasing property values, and I guess people are trying to sell in the area, and prospective buyers have been deterred from buying because of this house. So I just would like to bring up, we have it in the past, abatements have usually been for anything landscaping, simple, going with our mowers, equipment, track the time, bill the owner for what the costs were, and usually it's between $300 and $500 for abating someone's yard. It's a smaller price that in some situations we may not see that money come back to the city. This situation, if we were to re-roof or abate and take care of correct the issue ourselves, and Tom, Attorney Trask may be able to reflect on this, he's a lot more experience than I do, but we dealt with one of these about a year and a half ago where we had a lien on a property, it was foreclosing, and we filed an injunction to get some claim on that, and ended up without, the house sold under foreclosure. We did not recoup any money, so it's very possible that with attorney fees and interest, if this house forecloses, that we will not recoup any money if we act. But I have told these residents that I would bring this up to council Because in my opinion, knowing as what we've done historically in the city, unless it was like an emergency that was health and safety, wouldn't act or pursue acting to make a problem.
So what exactly are the neighbors asking us to do?
They just want consideration for the city to consider abating this property to correct it so that it's no longer an eyesore on that surrounding community.
It's not a ban,
It is not.
so you have to go on private property. He's shaking his head. Yeah, I'm not recommending you do this. Yeah. The first reason is in 37 years of doing this, I've never seen a city go on private property replace the entire roof. Second of all, you will recoup none of your money, none, if you do work, because of the fact that the case is in foreclosure. There is a list pendants that's been recorded, and that basically is the break point. Once that list pendant is recorded, any liens hit after the fact are deemed to be subordinate and inferior, and they're going to be wiped out in the foreclosure case. So you're not going to get any of your money. And so I recommended to the city manager that you not go down this path.
This was the house that they claimed was a patchwork roof.
Well, I would certainly agree with that approach. And whoever takes over this property, it will be sold at some point after the foreclosure, and those individuals will have an obligation to maintain that property in accordance with all of our rules and regulations. So I see no reason to expend public funds for what will ultimately be private ownership.
So it is currently in foreclosure?
Yes.
Have they given us any information regarding, is there going to be an auction?
We still don't have that info yet.
You don't have it?
The mayor would also
I
like.
have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
So we have liens on this property already, is that correct?
So the history is since June 15th, we started the $100 a day fine. And then our first invoice we produced on August 8th, but the filing occurred on August 28th. And then, so we did our first invoice and waited a month so that we could send it out and then accrue the interest for late payment. So then I believe we did another invoice in early September after learning that there was under foreclosure. And at that point, once we had that second invoice, it's been 30 days, I filed a lien even though it probably won't be citizen, but typically after we wait and we invoice and we file a lien, Kathy mailed it in. I'm assuming that it was filed, but from my understanding that the mortgage lender holds the first priority of the lien, so regardless, it's not going to make a difference.
Okay, all right, so, I think I would agree with the others that there's not a whole lot we can do at this point. As much as it pains me to have a house that's derelict like this, since it's in foreclosure, it's not going to be long probably before it's knocked down and the problem completely goes away. That would be my prediction. I could be completely wrong, but I think putting the city in debt for a temporary Band-Aid on something that we're going to lose control of anyway is just not a good idea.
Can I add also, we have several houses in this condition, so we just have to allow the process to take its course. This is not the only property that has this issue.
I can make a bunch. While we're on that message, I know the governor, I guess, I don't know if you can answer this question about that, but I know the governor gave a moratorium about 3 years for trailers to be in people's property, that's what the township says. But I believe that moratorium says as long as you're working on your house. I believe we have now people just parking their trailers and boats. I don't think they're living in their boats. And where do we, I guess this isn't a fair question for you, maybe it's for our council to answer.
I took care of 3 boat and trailers just this last week.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you.
So if I'm seeing them, I'm getting
Okay.
them. I know down on 9th Street, there's 2 trailers. One is questionable if they're still using it, and I've actually
I have no
talked to the person
problem.
about that one before. And then there is a small one in the front yard that they are actively still working on that house. It's a small little camper trailer, but they are using it. And I know of another one on Cedar that they are actively working on the house and utilizing that, so.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody on council is trying to push anybody away, but I think some people are just abusing the system.
We also have a few that are moving back for the fall, winter with their motorcycle trailers and that sort of thing. I've seen a few of those in the neighborhood, so,
Yes, I saw that one.
yeah.
I have one more comment for Deputy Trump. Deputy, I appreciate you getting involved between the town of Bel Air Shore and the city of Bel Air Beach and offering your observances, some of your advice, and just any pointers you can offer to help both communities reach some sort of a resolution that works for both communities. It's a unique situation we're in, and I'm glad that you're back, and I'm glad that you're involved. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Any other questions? All good. Thank you, Deputy Trump.
Thank you.
Next agenda item number 3, which is a presentation from the Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District.
Hi, good evening. I'm here tonight, Chief Ken Grimes, and I have my Commissioner Gardella, who's actually the commissioner that lives in the city, or covers this area for us. As I mentioned before, we're public like you, so we have our meeting the third Tuesday of every month, 6:30 now. And so I would invite anybody to come, and if you have any comments or questions. We, in the last month, we had 7 calls, 1 fire call, and 6 EMS calls. The EMS calls range from, I'll just list them actually: falls, sick person, unconscious, sick person, unknown, chest pains, and unconscious. So those were the medical calls in the area, and our average response time was, the longest was about 11 minutes, and the shortest was actually about 5 minutes and 5 seconds. So this last month, I think I mentioned it in our last meeting, we had a city summit meeting where we had the mayor, representatives from all 4 cities we serve come, and we gave a much more detailed presentation on, we're your fire department. And so we gave a much more detailed presentation on how we were doing, how we stacked up financially, what our capital plan is moving forward with stations and those kind of things. I think I included, I don't know if it got in the agenda packet, but if not, it'll get sent to you. It did. A study that was the county commissioned, which showed response times to each of our cities, and what we asked the county was, tell us how many stations we need to cover our district, using computer or AI modeling nowadays. And is it 3 or is it 4 stations? What's the most cost effective to meet bench time, response times? And then what are the most ideal locations for those stations? And so that's mapped out in your agenda packet. It really shows that, which we're all working on together. We need a station up to the north into this area to cover you all, and it outlines our plan to the south as well. So we had a public meeting with your citizens here in Bel Air Beach, where we brought up and I sort of modify how I talk about it. Is we proposed the quiet and use of the house that you own, the quiet use of that house and a piece of the parking lot, to help us in an interim period of time for 2 to 3 years while we build a station a little bit south of here. we appreciate the citizens were very robust in their comments, and we really, the forum was really good, and we got a lot of good feedback. And from my perspective, it's up to the mayor and council and what we do from here, but we wouldn't want to move forward with opposition to us, occupying that house. So we still think it's if you look at the data, it's the best place, but again, your folks have been through so much, and they were quite emotional about it. So we leave it in your capable hands. We're here to serve. We will fix the problem about it. We need a paramedic unit up here. That's the bottom line. We will fix that regardless. So we, want to assure you of that. And I think that's it. Do you have anything you wanted to add? Or?
No, I think we'll address the concerns from the neighbors as much as we can, but it's ultimately up to the city as far as what you're comfortable with. That's it. All right. Any questions for us? Yes.
Was that form recorded and is it available for us to view? I wasn't in town for that.
There's a recording on YouTube channel.
Through the beach or
Through the Bel Air Beach YouTube channel. That's audio.
And I will say, it was, you may hear from, even in this meeting, the public to be heard, there was a lot of misunderstandings about what we were talking about. I mean, like I said, we're talking about sort of the quiet use of this house with no impact on the street, Cedar Street at all, with just the truck parking in the parking lot here. So a low impact, that was the word I was using for. We were trying to make it a very low impact. That was our proposal, but what got out into the public was far from that. It was, we were going to tear the house down and take the house behind it and build a fire station. And so, like I said, your residents, our collective residents, citizens have been through so much, and they just didn't need the extra stress of sort of trying to sort through that. And like I said, this misinformation really took hold, and I don't think our discussion was really even able to be fairly sort of evaluated. Because honestly, at the end of the day, if it was, we don't want a fire truck here, just like we have trucks the size of a sheriff's car that we could put a paramedic unit in, park there right behind the house, just right where the sheriff's units are parking, and meet our goal if we could collectively sort of talk about it and find solutions. But there was no, we couldn't really talk about it at this point. And if you ever want to, we're open.
The mayor has a comment as well.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I was at that meeting, and I think that the residents around City Hall, they were well prepared, no matter what the story was, to say no. And I promised the city that we would listen to whatever it is they had to say and try to honestly answer any questions that they had. At the beginning of the meeting, I had most of the facts already, and I went ahead and presented them. The chief came back behind me, and he presented the same facts in his own way. There was a little bit of concern about the chief looking at the possibility of buying the property behind the house that the city owns, which did not work out in his favor. But also, at the end of the day, their mind was already made before the meeting ever happened, and there was nothing anyone could do to change their mind. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. What I'm saying is that we promised to give them a voice, and I promised that I would vote this down if they did not want it. And ultimately, it's their neighborhood. It's not it's not next door to my house. It's not even in the cul-de-sac down the street. It's right next door to where these people live. And although I do think that it would be in the city's best interest, the rest of the city did not show up to speak out and say that they wanted this. So right now, all we have is what was presented at the at that meeting, and we gave everyone a long time to speak. There were some people that were given 20 minutes or so to speak. It was a very emotional meeting, and unless there just is some miracle that comes out of this that makes them change their mind, I will vote no on this.
I hope you don't take this completely off the table, because what you just said about a small ambulance, as a council person, one person suffers an injury, death, or whatever like that, I don't know how any of us could live knowing that, because I know this would not impact that neighborhood at all. I mean, maybe it's my fault. I asked Kyle to print up some flyers. I only did Tree Streets, 9th Street, some of the 8th and Harbor Drive. I put out the handbills. Maybe I should have done the whole south end and part of the north end, because I really don't believe a lot of our residents even know about this. And I don't think you should be walking away. I feel bad for these people that were impacted. I was impacted. But what would be worse than having a loved one suffer and you presented a great, scenario of all these time elements and everything like that. No one can dispute it. So I hope you don't walk away from this idea.
Let me just say, we'll never walk away from you. Like, we're all, but all.
I'm talking about the idea.
Yeah, no, like, all I'm saying is the ball's in your court. It's, for us, I'll come talk about it. I don't mind taking, tough meetings. I'll stick with it as long as you want. I agree with what the mayor said as well. But if you wanted to have some follow-up public forums, if any member of this public wants to call me up, and call Kyle, get my phone number, I'll come meet with private groups so we don't have to have a public meeting. I'm happy to talk very transparently about it, but don't think, there's no emotion here. We're not, we're going to walk away. We're going to fix this problem the best we can, and if you want to be part of that, if your citizens want to be part of that solution, we are right here, arm in arm with you. And if not, that's okay too. We're still going to provide them amazing service.
So can I just add that, I've been in support of you all expanding up here, and would continue to be in support. I hear the mayor saying he would not support it, but he is not the decision maker. So I need to say this very candidly, that the city needs to look at what's best for the citizens and for safety for our citizens, and we need to talk about it as a council, not let the mayor make that decision for us.
Agreed.
Well, I never said I was making the decision, Councilmember Shirley. What I said was that until more people stand up and say we want this as a city, because right now all I'm hearing is the council wants it, and I agree with you, I want it too. However, we had a public forum and no one showed up for it. So until I hear more, there's no way I could vote for this. Just like I said, we need a small miracle, and maybe I'll change my mind, but as of right now, the only representation that I've seen of the city are the ones that showed up at that meeting. Now, I'll be more than happy to put more meetings together and try to get more people involved. But as it stands right now, my vote is still no until more people stand up and say they want this.
I would like to say that I certainly respect the mayor's opinion on this in terms of voting in his own conscience and what he sees as the public reaction to it. However, I would also say that one public forum is not a referendum. It is not a vote of the people. It is not a vote of this council. We have a public health issue here. We cannot adequately respond to basic health needs without a closer fire station. That is a simple fact. I live 4 doors away from this proposed spot. The back of my house would be there. I completely support this. I do find it as a very low impact solution, and it's a temporary solution. I can't understand why we wouldn't want to move forward with a temporary solution to deal with a very, very critical health issue. I do not want one member of my family or any neighbor have to suffer adverse consequences because the fire truck can't get there soon enough. We have the facility, it's a very low-cost arrangement, and it's a temporary arrangement. I think we need to move ahead with this very quickly. We need to put this on the agenda. There has not been a public format for this in terms of calling to a vote, publicizing what that vote will be. And I heartily support it.
Thank you. So what is if we consider what you propose, and we've talked about already, Plan A, is there a Plan B if Plan A doesn't occur?
For us?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Plan B for us, we've purchased property north Indian Rocks Beach. Plan B for us is occupying that property temporarily. This is just not the best solution, because putting in temporary, like FEMA type housing is expensive. You know, the temporary solution is much more costly to the taxpayer, and you know, this seemed like, you know, a low impact and also a low cost to the taxpayer solution. But if this, you know, assuming this didn't work out, we definitely have Plan B and Plan C, D. We believe in a lot of contingency plans. So
How much longer would that take?
it'll take us probably another quarter for us to figure out. You know, my goal was by the first of the year to be able to be serving folks up here. And I think it would be April 1st if we ended up doing something on that property.
The mayor has a comment.
Yes, Chief Grimes, can you explain to everyone what the guarantee is that we will receive a county-funded paramedic if we set up a temporary solution at City Hall?
Guarantee. Right. So the county has said, and we just recently had another meeting with them, that they would move our time frame up to April 1st to give us a paramedic position if we were up here. So we have every belief, because we already had an agreement with them to add a position once we were built and had a station up here. We've been able to get them to push that timeline, looking at the data, to where I actually got the county staff to say that they would advocate for a mid-year budget. They call it a budget package, decision package. You know, instead of waiting until another year. So I think it's not a guarantee, but I think we've got, you know, a really good chance.
And just as a reminder, I did corner the powers that be on that, and I could not get a firm commitment on either one of them, especially out of Jim Fogarty. But I mean, it's always possible. If nothing else, if we did have, we had a staff here, at least they would be trained to perform CPR. Is that correct?
If we put a unit up here at our expense, our people are a minimum of emergency medical technician. So they would even have an automatic defibrillator, which is an important part of the chain of survival. But the likelihood of us just paying for and having a paramedic up here is pretty certain. Like, if we have an extra paramedic on duty, we definitely wouldn't have two down at Indian Rocks Beach and none up here. So if we have one here, you know, we're going to pay for it if we have to.
Yeah, I think if it's something that the city wants, which I believe that they do, we just need to see it. We need to see proof, and not just arbitrarily assume that everyone in the city wants this or does not want it. Again, I haven't seen the proof. No one showed up at the meeting. I've never received any calls after the meeting, even from the people that were there. I thought that I would get a bunch of emails about it, and really, I think that they walked away believing it was a dead topic. So anyway, this council can move in whatever direction they would like, and we'll see what happens. But As it is right now, everyone knows where I stand. I know that I'm the odd man out, and sometimes that happens as mayor.
Yeah, I'm with you on this as well, Mayor. Yeah, I think everything's a balance, and I know we could look at the numbers or, the timing, whether we get it down from 6 to 6.5, or, to like 5.5, timing, all those things. I still feel like the local residents that are nearby the Cedar House, we need to weigh that input more than others, I think. That's my own personal opinion. So I weigh that higher, and so my position right now is also, I would vote this down.
I suggest that we haven't received a proposal. I would like to see a proposal in writing that has the details, and then we can evaluate it, study it, and put it up for a vote. I'm sorry, Tom.
My comment was that there is a definite need for this conversation to go forward, and I think there's a definite need for an additional public forum to have it either put on a public ballot or put into a vote or whatever it is. But I agree with the mayor, which is we need to hear from the public, we need to hear from both sides of the public, because I think this is a health emergency for the community. I think it's something that needs to be addressed sooner than later. And according to Chief, we're in the quarter that we're going to have to make decisions pretty quickly here. So I'd say this is not something that we table and come up with a month from now. This is something we need to have an active conversation, get something actively scheduled for an additional forum. My opinion.
Would the council feel comfortable if we put this topic on the next work session with the plan of ideally having this item that we're talking about being on the next month's agenda, to advertise that and hopefully have more people from the city come to the meeting, and we'll be more educated once we get the information that includes the data that we're looking for and the proposal, and be able to make a logical decision at the next council meeting. Because as it's been said more than a couple times, we sometimes are in a situation where we have to make a decision that we feel as a group is best for the city as a whole. And sometimes that may not be what some of the people are in favor of that are closer to it. So we know that going into it. And I appreciate the position that the mayor is in. He previously said that he made a promise to the people that live there, so he's a man of his word, and that's fine. But again, I think we need to step back as a council and say what's best for the city as a whole, and have that on the agenda, discuss it at the workshop, have more information, and be able to vote what direction we want to go at the next council meeting.
Mr. Mayor, one thing about the calls and emails or whatever I was getting is you're getting accused of not just publicizing this correctly. He said, all it said was Cedar Avenue. I said, well, if you go back and look at the minutes in May, the whole thing on Cedar Avenue was discussed at length. I said, no, council isn't trying to cover anything or hide anything here. So maybe if we put it on the agenda, like you're saying, discuss an EMS unit, fire. I hate the word fire station because everybody thinks you got a big ladder truck going to be parked here with,
We shouldn't use the word fire station.
Yeah.
Ever. When we're talking about this out here.
Yeah, I mean, that just backs people off. I mean, but if we could do something to get it out to the public, I mean, I'll hand over the neighborhoods or whatever you want. But no, I think we should discuss.
Yeah, I think the meeting you're talking about, Frank, that we were presented a budget. There was a presentation on how the house would be improved because it still has storm damage and who was paying for what portion of it.
That was in May.
Right, we have insurance money we've not spent yet. The fire district was coming up with some funds to complete the project, so we were benefiting. The city was benefiting from it as well because this house would be improved and livable again, because it's not right now. We're not using it at all because it's in such bad condition, as we complain about our neighbors. We're doing it just as well. But the thought is maybe besides having a work session, maybe having a day of, here are the vehicles we think we would park there, park one in front of the house. Let's look at what it looks like and that sort of thing, or wherever the vehicle's going to be parked, and allow people, kind of like you do when you bring the fire trucks and they can climb, kids can climb through them. I'm not saying that, but do a public service day where we can see the vehicles we're discussing, so the surrounding neighbors are certain it's not, the big fire rescue vehicle, but more of a support vehicle.
Yes, absolutely.
And you don't know that the last meeting they did bring it. They brought the fire engine.
Oh, they
They
did.
did bring it to the public meeting, so I don't think anybody took the time to go out there and look at it, but you did bring it, appreciate that.
And then they had a call.
They had a call, they were able to get there.
And I do think the meeting invite was sent out, and it was, I'd say it was a little cryptic. I mean, three-letter acronyms don't make it very clear. Like, I think that was the label of the invite, and I did talk to Kyle, and Kyle made some adjustments to the website to give a little more explanation. But I was kind of curious, do we have a process? I looked a little bit like to find the documentation. What is our process for announcing a public meeting? Is it how much advance notice do we have to give people? Is that written down in our process? Or?
We don't have a formal procedure, but we do have state statute that we follow.
Okay.
And then we have our charter too, it also has.
Talks about something like 48 hours.
Yeah, I have to look back through, but typically we try to get the agenda latest Friday.
Right.
And, as far as meeting requirements.
I guess something is maybe as sensitive as a meeting like this, probably should maybe strive to do a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, we did get it up on the sign at least a week.
Yeah, I know we did better than the 48 hours, so I noticed that, right? Maybe even a month in advance. Honestly, I think we need something like that. And I don't know that one work session would be enough to get, I think the residents are going to need a couple dates to try and get here and express their opinion. So I think if we're going to take it to another level, I definitely think we should have spread it over a couple sessions, give all the residents an opportunity to raise their questions again, and like you say, spread the word as accurately as possible, and give them time to read up even to go there.
I have a comment on that also. I think also along with advertising the meeting, I believe that there should be an FAQ in that document. That, just like we send out our constant contacts after a council meeting, we should advertise that meeting probably once a week for 2 months before we have it. And all of the facts are already presented, because even though at the very beginning of the meeting I presented the facts, nobody heard what I said. They continued on with the same, this is terrible, and it's going to make all this noise, and you're going to knock this down, and you're going to buy this property, and we're going to have fire trucks driving up and down the street. And that was not the case at all. And even though one of the very first things I said was that no decision has been made, that's not what they heard. They heard that a decision had already been made. And that was just not the case at all. So I think having the facts in advance, well in advance, and not just once, but multiple times before another meeting is called about this, would be advantageous to everyone, especially if this is what the council wants to see happen. Is that occasionally you make a decision that people are not going to agree with. Well, it's in our best interest to have as much damage control as possible before that vote ever comes to fruition. So that's my comments on it. And Chief, I appreciate your hard effort in trying to make this happen. And Commissioner Gardella, I appreciate you being here also, and I thank you for all your hard work. And we truly love the Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District, and we love what you're trying to do. We've just got to do a better job if this is really what everyone wants.
Understand, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. If I may, I love the suggestion. We'll give a written proposal, so it's very clear. I think that was a great, about misinformation, that way it's very clear, black and white. And then, so I thought that was a great suggestion. We will provide that after this meeting, and you all, if you want to use it accordingly.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I know Councilmember Banker had mentioned earlier, and I agree with him 100%, that I know it's not easy when you go into an environment like that you guys went through, and you just feel like, I don't know what the right term would be, that you just got overwhelmed by the audience, and so you have a tendency to want to back away, and that's what Councilmember Banker said. We don't want you to do that. We want you to come in with the same approach and enthusiasm to help us sell this factually.
Absolutely.
So don't feel like...
We don't get scared away, we run into fires.
All right.
We don't get scared easy.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Good?
Thank you.
I would just maybe add that I also appreciate the fire department for listening to the people that came there. I mean, I thought you took a lot in that meeting, and I appreciate that you really listened, and you honestly, I think you accepted some of the input that you were getting. So I thought that was fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is the City Attorney Report.
Mayor, I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Right. Agenda item number 5 is the City Manager Report.
Okay, thank you. Just to run over where we're at on the hurricane recovery, I have 5 that I have to follow up on there. They're planning to elevate. I just got to make sure that they still plan to elevate, especially after we heard the results from Elevate Florida. I know some of them may be holding out for the possibility that more funding may come down. And then I have 4 that said they plan to demolish. I have to follow up on getting those permits. And then again, 8 that are plan to reevaluate. It's a matter of getting in like cost breakdown and going through that whole process. So I'm just continue to follow up. I do have the 1 code violation pending. That was for a structure that is substantially damaged. The owner is living out of the country in United Kingdom, and after watching the USPS tracking for about a month, a little over a month, I don't believe it's going to get to that owner. So I did get in contact. I have an email for the owner, but I did give them that violation, and their property manager had posted the property. So I don't think that certified mail is going to serve its purpose and probably come back to us. On the FEMA side, we did get that check. I just want to be clear that we did get that $580,000 check, which brought us close to over $900,000 of what we spent getting reimbursed, and we were just shy of $1 million. So right now we're waiting on, I would estimate about 20 to 30 left, possibly. Okay, yeah. The 7th, just to go over some of the check valves, 7th is now working. It's been actively working. I think some other council members have witnessed it too. So that's good news. We still need to do repairs to the 8th Street system, but we're no longer in a situation where that backflow is out of control. So I've been looking at some of the quotes that have come back. It's going to be pretty pricey to clean and line these pipes. Right now, all these proposals are over $25,000, which is our threshold for a bid. But my hope is that we can do our bidding requirement, public bid requirement, with a shorter form of bid that will not require so much time and effort from the contractor, so that we can get a healthy amount of bids coming. And then, so you'll be seeing, what I put together for that to finish those repairs. As far as the rest of the backflow preventers, 9th Street is working 12th and 13th have been working. 18th Street is also working, that has been completed. And all these streets, we've gone back out, resealed best we could, been watching, measuring when we see high tides. I haven't said seasonal weather repaired, I haven't got it good. Like 3.5, very, very high tide, which is a good test mark, but there's some coming. So I just would like to see how they perform while there's a high amount of water for an extended period of time, just to see if there's some leaking, what that is. So we're making progress there. The code review, we got through our last chapters. We have one more meeting we're going to schedule. It should be later August. I have to do some follow-up questions with a consultant that I'm working with who is helping us review our flood code. And she's very has a lot of knowledge in the requirements that the Florida Division of Emergency Management has currently for the state. So we're going to find out just specifically what on these revisions, what we're required to do because of the follow-up from the Planning and Zoning Board. And then from there, I'm going to summarize all the recommendations that they have made through our meetings that were in addition to our drafts. And then my plan is to bring those back to a work session so we can go over them with council and discuss moving forward with our ordinances. And the 9th Street Pump Station, made a note here that I was going to send you the report prepared by John and I about the bid tabulation. I have not received that yet. I will send that as soon as they give it to me. And I plan to put this on the next work session. There were 2 low bidders that were both within our project budget, at least what we were talking, our $660,000. But they do have differences in experience and qualifications. So I want to make sure that's summarized and presented by Jim and I so that we can review it and make a decision. The 22nd Street Bridge, there's a series of tests. Right now we have 3 separate tests that need to be done beforehand, in preparation to learning what level of scouring has occurred in the bridge from the storm. So it's a pile integrity testing, a geotech study, and a bathymetric study that needs to be done. These are pretty pricey, they vary, but Gemini has been getting quotes from, looks like they've been querying about 7 different companies and been getting some quotes back on different tests. And then from what I've received so far, it looks like just the evaluation of the bridge is going to cost us, the lowest bids we received about $35,000. And then from there, we would learn the level of damage that the bridge is undertaking and what is required for the repair. And they're also engaged with structural engineers that specialize in the bridge building and repairs. So we're actively seeking quotes from them. So my plan with this is to put together, get a proposal from Gemini to go through this testing phase first. And then from there, we'll be able to evaluate the bridge and then work through a project repair. So that's where we're at. They're putting in a proposal for me. I'd like to at least get something by November to move forward with this. And then, for the most part, that covers everything except I would like to mention that this building, the last meeting that we made last week, so it's good to get off, so that was exciting. We should have a party.
Yes, we should. How about on the 75th anniversary, we have a little dedication? Yeah, there you go. I didn't think that was going to come.
Is there any questions on the report?
On the pump station on 9th Street, I was 100% for that when it was being torn up and that, but my past experience, I dealt with Gator pumps in the past. I was hoping to have some type of information tonight. I've been talking to them. We could probably solve a rainwater issue for this whole entire city for under $75,000. for pumps from 16th Street down to First Street, not counting the installation, not counting a lift station. Now, lift station's only going to be as good as how much water can be flowed into that lift station, into that pump to discharge. So I'm going to email you what I got tomorrow morning. I'll send it to you. Maybe council should look at this because I can't see just fixing one street for any, if it's between $300,000 or $600,000. It's just foolish behavior.
Okay, then when you send that, I'll share with the council.
Sure.
In general.
I guess I have a couple. Yeah, so anyway, I did want to, thank you for all the work you've done on all the check valve installs. And obviously, I was watching you do the 7th Street. In case you didn't know, Kyle was like working so hard under that incredibly hot sewer or storm drain. And he came out there barfing. It was just so hot in there. It was crazy to watch him do all that hard work in there. But he got it working because as of about a week and a half ago, I have not seen any flooding. And there's been some high tides that would have normally, I showed you pictures of the high tide we had today. That would have been flooding in the street right now and in people's yards. And there was zero. In fact, it was several feet into the drain. Several feet left to go before it even reached the grades. So it was, I think, really encouraging. So really hats off to you on that. So it was a long road and it was hard work and lots of struggles, but you got it there. I know you would have tested it 3.5, and that's great. I still think, take a win here right now too. I also had a question about, there's a cone on 8th Street because one of the storm sewer drain covers is popping up when people drive over it. So you put a cone on it, and I think you tried to strap it down for a while, and that must have broken. So what's the deal with that?
We put it into the management system of the county. It's a C-click fix, and we called several times, left messages, but you can't seem to get them to come out and take action.
Okay.
Just keep continuing to push them along, but it is a storm, or a sanitary sewer manhole.
Oh, it is a sanitary sewer.
It's their responsibility to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird, like, cars would drive right over it, and it would flip.
Yeah.
Straight, and like wheels would go down in the thing if they would continue to drive over it. So it seems pretty hazardous right now.
There's another one, we have a cone, and it's a hibiscus in Morgan, but that was part of the stormwater project, so we marked a note on it on our walkthrough,
Okay.
and they're gonna take care of that one, so there's another one with a cone on it.
Okay. I noticed when you're also reporting on these check valve status, we had, I think I got some clarity after discussing with you that Cedar and the street next to, is that Spruce? Yeah, are both, those we need to add to the check valve list of ones we're going to track and put, right? Because you do have intention to put a check valve there as well.
Yes, that's the one that we're looking at early November.
Yeah. So if we put that on our list of ones that we're tracking and following up on, if you have it, I didn't see it on the list.
No, I don't.
Okay, so let's put that one on the list so that we know that people know that that's coming. Can you also just clarify the explanation? So 4th is the one that's not working properly at the moment. And what is the issue a little bit there?
Okay, so with 4th, after we installed the check valve, I went and was observing it from the box, and this is the first time I saw this, but the water was coming into the box, but it was coming between the COPP and the
CPP is this plastic
between
liner
the plastic
that
and
you
the
put inside the pipes, inside this. Okay, to keep them from leaking, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So it was coming between that plastic pipe that was supposed to be, sealed to the inside of the concrete pipe into the box, so between the concrete and the plastic. So in seeing that, the engineers are going back to the installer and they want to verify that water coming in between the concrete and it can hold that weight because the groundwater is coming into the pipe.
Okay. Oh,
So
it's not coming from the intercoastal through the whole pipe.
We are not 100% certain,
Okay.
but we do know from prior to the repair and videos that there was groundwater leaking by the seawall and then a little bit into the property, there was compromised pipe. So what Gemini has asked me to do is probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday, so I was going to go back out. And I didn't want to, when I first observed it, I didn't want to do anything more until we checked the roof, but they want me to kind of verify the seal, the outfall, which I haven't done yet. So I can do that. I don't think it'll stop it, but at least we'll know 100% where.
Okay, so, but right now, that's the next step, and I guess if that's not the answer, then we're looking at,
Well, we have to come up with a solution that's going to work. We haven't paid for any of that CFPP, and we're, right now we're rejecting it until we know.
okay, so they may come back out and have to repair the whole CPP in general, and install it better maybe or something, right?
Yeah,
So, and that could be several months probably of work, probably, right?
Yeah, but I feel it all.
Okay, all right. Just kind of trying to pace myself on when that was going to show up. Okay.
It has slid though.
Okay, yeah, it did seem, I went and looked at it, it was, yeah, wasn't bad. And then the other thing was, I think you talked to me a little bit about this, we know we got some complaints about the maintenance of the pond across from this property, right? Can you remind me who's responsible for maintaining that pond? The county, right?
So it's the county's pond. And from my understanding, a while back, the city requested that we maintain it because their maintenance program
Was it frequent? We weren't happy with the maintenance program they were offering, right? So we offered to do more? Is that how it down?
That's what I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So are we continued to committing to doing that?
So the last I heard is, and the county, or a representative from the county spoke with Aaron, but they led him to believe that they were going to take it back.
Okay. So
But it sounded like they were going to do it at a higher frequency than they do any other pod, which is beneficial.
So is our position right now that we do not take any responsibility for maintaining that anymore?
Well, until I have something final.
Okay, so you're waiting for some final.
Yeah, we're still going to mow and, keep it up.
Okay, so we are going to step in until that gets very clear, the result.
Right.
Okay, all right, got it. And then, I don't know, maybe some feedback, I don't know if this is the right one, about the pedestrian gate access that we asked, that we went and discussed with Bel Air Shore. Is this the right time or is that another topic? Okay, I'll pass for that then.
Regarding the pond across the street, can you clarify, is there an easement for walking from this street across to the next? Yes, there is.
I think on the east side of the property, there's a 10-foot that connects.
Good. Thank you. I still have that survey. I have a survey of the entire walking with you. It's at my office. I'll bring it to you.
Any other questions? So you had something on your report here, Carl, on the anniversary celebration. Do you want to discuss that?
We're continuing to plan. Last week, staff got with the chair of the Parks and Recreation Board, and we, ordered the decorations and just, what we're planning. It's coming together, so we're looking to be on schedule. We're excited for the event.
Very good, very good. And I concur what Councilmember Welling just talked about with all the work and effort that Kyle put in. He had said for a while now that he was comfortable and felt confident that when the check valves were all put back in, many, if not all of these issues that we were currently seeing with heavy rains, or more importantly, the backflow of the salt water from the intercoastal. So I think that's where we are now, except for a few minor changes or improvements, but I think he's done a great job, and it'll be, have we had a test yet, Kyle, in your opinion, where we got a decent rain event at the same time we had a high tide? That hasn't happened yet, right?
Not since that weekend when we saw the 12th and 13th, and that was the only one that I felt 100% confident about was working. But I just wanted to make clear that that was a rain event, and I think it tracked about 2 inches of rain then. day, at least that weekend. And it, you know, there was a time period where the valves were working, the water was up, there was enough rain to produce water in the street.
Okay, it was all fresh water.
Right.
Awesome.
We had a 3.2 tide, it was not affecting the streets were flooded.
Nothing came back.
Well, nothing came above there, we had a storm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like, still like a foot or two below.
Right.
And it had rained the night before, so a lot of the water that was in the drain was from residual rain from the night before.
So that's perfect. That's a good job.
But I'm not ready to characterize it as minor when the rains come still yet, because I still think it is going to be realistically a, flooding issue when we rain and high tide. And
How we do that from the get-go?
We did know that, right? And I know, and we have to talk about what what we're willing to tolerate on that. So,
Yeah. Pretty good. All right, any other questions? The next item is the city clerk report. I'm assuming.
No report, thank you.
Very good.
Just to mention, Kathy is at her training academy, and that's why she is not present.
Item number 7, we're now to citizen comments. Are there any citizens that would like to come forward and to the podium and speak? Please keep in mind that each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 3-minute presentation on any subject that is not on our agenda tonight. So when you come up here, please give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Derek Golden. I am a representative of 1000 Cedar Drive. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd like to address the fire department's proposal to temporarily operate at the City Town Hall parking lot and utilize the property at 1001 Cedar Drive to house emergency personnel during their shifts. As we know, the city currently owns 1001 Cedar, which is being used for storage.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure, are we comfortable that this is not something that was on the agenda?
It's not.
Okay, this is the fact that, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. The city currently owns 1001 Cedar, which is used for storage. The property has sustained hurricane damage and remains in a state of disrepair with no visible restoration. If the proposal moves forward as described, it could bring much needed improvements to the property. Making the structure habitable would require repairs, and with community input, there's an opportunity to request exterior upgrades that align more closely with the residential character of Cedar Drive. In that context, temporary use may be seen as an improvement, at least compared to the property's current condition. We've been informed that no emergency vehicles or equipment would be stationed on Cedar Drive at 1001 Cedar, only personal vehicles belonging to on-duty emergency personnel. A portion of the property would continue to be used by the city for equipment and storage. Thanks to Chief Grimes and company for the presentation and highlighting the many added benefits of bringing emergency personnel to our community. That said, many residents remain understandably concerned. There is skepticism around the temporary nature of this proposal and whether it may ultimately lead to a more permanent presence, possibly even a future fire station, which has been addressed today, and that is not the intention. Examples of additional concerns include increased noise and light disturbances, the potential installation of a traffic light or emergency signal, overflow parking on Cedar Drive during community center events, the broader concern of civic infrastructure expanding into residential areas, and the possibility of negatively impacting nearby property values. In summary, while there could be benefits if the plan remains limited and temporary, and it brings clear positive improvements to the property, the community is seeking more clarity, a detailed plan, and stronger assurances. We want to ensure this proposal adds value to the neighborhood and the community, not diminishes it. Thank you again for your time and listening to the voices to those who deeply care about the character and future of their community.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Story, I'm the Vice Mayor of Bel Air Shore, and just wanted to come out tonight to speak to some of the visits that we've been having over the last few months in Bel Air Shore. And there's a litigious individual that likes to show up and threaten lawsuits regularly, and most recently, that individual showed up with one of the council members that's present here tonight, and not with your mayor, but the mayor was also there. And I think it's really important from our perspective. The mayor discussed cooperation and communication between the two cities. I've heard that brought up tonight. And I want to tell you that it's very disheartening for us to be under constant attack by an individual, and that individual show up at our meeting with one of the council members tonight. And then also during that meeting, the existing mayor of Bel Air Beach to look to that attorney and ask him for his legal clarification on points. And, and then towards the end of that meeting, state that, it wasn't planned, right? I'm also confused how it's not a violation of sunshine law that the mayor and a council member from your city and a former mayor and attorney that represented a case showed up and all spoke and had back and forth conversation amongst themselves and with our council. So I know, for instance, the fact that I was coming here tonight, other council members were advised not to come, but if they did come, not to speak, right? So, that's an interesting thing. I just want to bring you all's attention. But, I love my community. I love this beach. I've met many people in Bel Air Beach that are amazing people, and they care about it. My children love it here. It's been an eye-opening process. The first time I came to this building about 4 years ago, didn't know Bel Air Beach and Bel Air Shore weren't one community. I had no clue. And my first day on my new property, somebody was walking by. Apparently they thought, I kind of knew what was going on. I got some expletives said towards me and my family. I had no idea what was going on. I came here thinking this was, our city hall. I didn't know that, again, Bel Air Beach and Bel Air Shore weren't one. And then kind of got an education, and then very quickly found out that the two cities were kind of battling at that time. And I don't want to bring all that back up, but again, just want to point to the fact that we need communication. I think the members of Bel Air Beach, the residents of Bel Air Beach, the residents of Bel Air Shore agree on a lot of things. And I think if we focus on those things that we agree about, we'll get a lot done. I think threatening lawsuits and showing up with attorneys that are threatening lawsuits over and over and over again, and attorneys that have proven to be litigious in the past, and you have members of this council that show up with them, I don't think that leads us to have an open communication. I don't think that leads to productive conversation between the two communities. You can't stop that. I don't think that in itself is something that is illegal. I just think it's a really bad idea, and it's hard to show up and say we want to be, good neighbors under the guise of if you're not, we're going to sue you, right? So anyway, that's all I had. And I was appointed, I know it's on the calendar for later, but I was appointed to speak with Mayor Gaddis related to our lots, the 3 lots. I know we're not going to speak about that now, but if you guys have any questions or want me to speak about that later, I can do it now or later, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, thank you. I think later would be better since it's an agenda item. Normally at this particular time, we try not to get into an interaction.
Sure, fair enough. And again, I appreciate you guys, and I don't have anything against anybody. It's, like I said, 99% of every person I've had an interaction with has been awesome. And the individual that's litigious, I don't personally have anything against him. We differ on some things. I think there's some facts that, maybe your town attorney and our town attorney and myself, and maybe Mayor Gaddis should have a sit down and go over. I think there's some small facts that we disagree on, but I think for the most part, we all are trying to get to a common goal.
Sure.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Any other citizens? Yes, ma'am.
is Patty Roberts, 102 20th Street, also Parks and Rec Chair. And I just want to invite the entire city, of course all the council members, to come to the birthday celebration, October 25th, from 5 to 8. We're going to have a real good time. We're going to celebrate this wonderful place that we live in. Excuse me. Boy, it's making me sick. And we're going to have music, we're going to have lots of good food, and lots of friendship. That's what it's all about, getting together and getting this community to celebrate that we made it almost through a good hurricane season. So, but to celebrate what last year did for us, it did bring us together. We had a lot of wonderful people that helped the city, and we want to celebrate each other. So please, October 25th, 5 to 8. That's right. And we're going to have a real good time. We'll hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other citizens? Anybody online? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. We have 2 items. We have the approval of the September 15th, 2025 final budget public hearing minutes, and also the approval of the September 15th, 2025 special city council meeting minutes. So I'm going to need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as written and proposed.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right. We'll just do a voice vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? It approves unanimously. Under the regular agenda, first item is item number 11, to consider authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement with Pinellas County for the cooperative procurements of post-storm recovery services within geographic Pinellas County. So this is Kyle, if you could tell us some more about that.
Yes, certainly. So this is very similar to the interlocal agreements that we currently use, which is for debris collection and debris monitoring. And just a little history, these started after Hurricane Irma, when there was a large amount of vegetative debris that cities had to battle with the contractors that were available to get them to come to their city to pick up debris, and through the process, it was learned that if we worked together, that we could have a little bit better coordination on these contractors. And we utilized these contracts last storm season, and they did work well. There's always a battle to get the contractor to mobilize as fast as you want them to, but they did perform and they did do the job and completed the job. So in my opinion, I think these do work well for us, and now the county has proposed an interlocal agreement for post-disaster services. And just an idea, this includes things like the damage inspections, doing the substantial damage calculations, as well as reviewing appraisals and taking permits. So all these services you might need for the after the storm processes that need to be completed, and you may need additional staff and support for it. My recommendation is that we accept this interlocal agreement, and it's using their procured or competitively procured contractors. They did the work for us, and they're providing it to allow us to sign on and use it ourselves. So that's a little bit.
It's a good thing. Perfect. All right, first I'd like to go to the citizens. Are there any citizens that like to comment on this agenda item? All right, seeing none, we'll come back to the council. Any comments from anybody? All good? Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Get a motion first.
Sorry, need a motion from the council?
I move that we accept the proposal for the interlocal
Perfect. Second? Good. So we do a roll call vote. Are you taking the place of any additional discussion? Anybody's comment? You have a list?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. Councilmember Frank Banger.
Yes.
Councilmember Kimberly Shaw Elliott.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler Harper.
Yes.
Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Aye.
Councilmember Honors Mullins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts.
Aye.
And Mayor David Yanis.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Kyle, thanks you as well. The next agenda item is the discussion of the draft memorandum of understanding regarding the access control and continuous pedestrian passage at lots 21, 43, and 66 of Bel Air Beach. So Mayor Gaddis, is this something that you would like to take the lead on for tonight's meeting?
We need a motion.
It's a presentation first.
Sorry about that. I was scrolling to the correct page. All right. So as everyone remembers, at the last meeting, the council authorized me to approach Bel Air Shore with the possible opportunity of funding, maintaining, and installing access gates at the 3 access lots to allow for Bel Air Shore to continue closing their gates before and after, before sunset and after, before sunrise and after sunset. So I went to Bel Air Shore and spoke to them and explained what our intentions were. And they agreed to, for now, install chains that would allow for a 3-foot opening of those gates. Therefore, it wouldn't allow a car pass through, but pedestrians could pass through. I have not been there in the past couple of weeks, so I don't know if that actually came to fruition or not. The next step was to work on a memorandum of understanding and also a proposed gate design. So I did reach out to Vice Mayor Story and said, would you like to meet me? And I guess by that time, the fact that Joe Manzo was at our meeting, which I will confirm was unplanned. I had no idea he was going to be there. It almost derailed the meeting. It was 5 minutes of me asking Bel Air Shore to work with us, and it was 30 minutes of we're going to sue you, which was not representing the city, or I'm going to sue you, and that was coming from Joe Manzo. So, long story short, they did agree to install a chain that would allow the opening, and Vice Mayor Story agreed to work with myself and our 2 attorneys to see if we could come up with an agreement. In the meantime, since I got no response from Vice Mayor Story at the time, I went ahead and moved forward with the construction of a memorandum of understanding. And this in no way is a final draft. This is just my thoughts put on paper of what I think would be acceptable for this council and for the city, and may also be acceptable for the town of Bel Air Shore. So I'm assuming everyone has read this MOU, and you probably have questions or would like explanations of what we were thinking. If we can come to some sort of a resolution on or an agreement on how this looks, or if whatever changes you'd like to make, the next step is I would like to send this over to the town of Bel Air Shore for them to examine before the next meeting. which I would also ask the council to allow me to represent our city again in that next meeting as they review the MOU.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's go to the citizens first. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment?
Daniel Story, Vice Mayor, Bel Air Shore. I think you guys should put forth something that has a chance of being approved. And right now, at face, it doesn't. It's not even close. My younger brother was in the hospital for 20 days in the cancer unit and had 70% of his stomach removed, his esophagus. He had complications. He almost passed away. He got out of the hospital after that period of time. Actually, the day that the mayor reached out to me was the day we were getting my brother to the hospital. Less than 24 hours later, he was back in the hospital with complications another 6 or 7 days. So it's been a little rocky. I've also had my son's birthday, my birthday, and my wife's coming up on the 8th. So lots of things going on. That being said, no excuse. He did reach out. The reason I did not respond had nothing to do with the threats of lawsuit. It was just merely a lot going on with one of my younger brothers and a lot of emotion around that with my mother and my father. And it just slipped my mind, honestly. That being said, to speak specifically, I think there's some things, and again, not to get in a big back and forth, but I think we need to remember it's not a deed. It's not a deed granting the property. It's a license to use, right? And it's not an exclusive license to use. So I also want to bring up, and I'm having these brainstorming conversations with my attorney. Should we end up in a lawsuit, what are ways that we could pay for that lawsuit? And, maybe that's issuing licenses for use to other communities. Maybe that's issuing licenses to use for the day for other individuals, right? Again, I think it's important we get back to a point where the two communities are working together, but under the threat of lawsuit, which we got stuck with the legal bill last time, which I mentioned to Mayor Gaddis. And, there's still some bad blood related to that, and Bel Air Beach not agreeing to participate in those losses. So I think, the city is taking a different position here, under the threat of a potential lawsuit, what are ways we can fund that? So I keep hearing from residents of Bel Air Beach that it's their access, their exclusive access, it's needed to them. And, they have a license to use, but it's not exclusive. And there were some things, a lot of language in that MOU that I don't think would fly. And I don't want to say this unequivocally, but I think there's very little chance that we're going to give exclusive control of the gates, of any codes, of any access, of any locks to Bel Air Beach. I think it's a wasted effort. I mentioned to the mayor that we had done considerable research. There are gates that are automated that would shut and close automatically, and that would allow every resident of Bel Air Beach to access, and a pedestrian access where they could have, like, think Planet Fitness or any of the local gyms, they have a key fob, and they're a nominal expense. And some of these gyms have 10,000 members. I don't know what the resident count is in Bel Air Beach, but it has the capacity for every resident. And so we have been looking into installing these gates so that they can be open and closed at specific times. And then also having a resident access so that every Bel Air Shore and Bel Air Beach resident could access through that walkway at any time they would like. And, the cost of those are extremely nominal. I believe you guys have a fee associated with parking passes. Currently, I would say the fee associated with a key fob, it's probably so small that it could be free to the residents. If not, it would be a nominal fee. I brought that up to Mayor Gaddis, and he said it was an impossibility because of the cost associated with it. And, he said, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said there was no other solution than the one he was proposing. But the only one that he was proposing was essentially what we already had, with the exception of adding a gate, a special gate that people could walk through, versus sliding our gate open and walking through it. So I do agree. I think it's in the best interest to actually have a pedestrian access, and that we have been seeking quotes. This goes back as far as probably this began 4 or 5 months ago. And, there is a considerable cost there. I don't remember the exact number, I believe it was around $120,000 for the total between all three accesses, but I think it would solve the problem. And I would say this, at this point, and I think at no time, there's no intention to stop any Bel Air Beach resident from using the accesses, right? But I do want to point out, it's not exclusive use, it doesn't have to be, and it's a license, it's not a deed. But I'm willing to any questions you guys have.
How much money did you pay for the lawsuit?
Are you asking how much money we're seeking back?
No. Well, how much money did you collect from the League of Cities, or did the League of Cities pay the entire bill?
I would be guessing to give you the answer. I believe we're.
Yeah, let's hold off on that. Let's just stay on the topic.
Well, it is on topic. It's not on topic.
Vice Mayor Roberts, this is your meeting. I would just like to remind you, normally we don't do a back and forth with public comments, but it's your call. So you handle it the way you like.
I agree. I think we always try to keep interaction back and forth for obvious reasons. But we will, I'm confident, by the time we finish discussing this, those things will be talked about. And I really do appreciate you coming forward to give us your side of the story. I'm also confident, and I think the council probably is as well, I don't want to speak for all of them, that when yourself, Vice Mayor, and our Mayor Gaddis get together, this is, as he mentioned earlier, this is just a starting point.
I agree.
So I don't feel like there's anything that can be discussed between the two of you guys when you're sitting down and hashing this out. So thank you very much.
If I say one more comment, is that okay? I just want to point out, Mayor Gaddis, that we extended the courtesy to you to have comment and conversation about this very matter. And so it's a double standard to say to me that you're not going to allow that, but you asked for that courtesy at our meeting. So again, it's good for thee, but not for we. What's that saying, right? It's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's rules for me, but not for thee.
Well, I think we may ask you to come back up to the podium.
I'm just commenting on the point where he stopped because I feel like without communication, we're not going to get anywhere. And I'm here to communicate, if you like.
I think the main reason is historically we've had some challenges in that area, which is the reason we try not to do that.
Sure. But I'm available. I'm here through Thursday. We have a family event on Friday. If Mayor Gaddis is available, I think it'd be a good meeting. I think it'd probably be a good idea to have both attorneys if that's possible. It could be productive. But anyway, thank you guys so much.
If you don't mind staying, that would be helpful because again, we may have a conversation that does go back to.
And I wanted to give. I know we can't have a group conversation, but I wanted to give my number to anybody. I think what you guys hope to accomplish, I want to do the same. There's just some very small things that when we say certain words, there are individuals threatening to take by force these lots. There are individuals threatening to take by force certain things, and I have that. We have that in writing. We have recordings of it, etc. So when those people show up, and then we start getting, memorandums that use those same words that attorney used. Right, it starts to get people, they kind of push back and they don't want to have communication. So I'm trying to show up. I don't know the last time somebody from Bel Air Shore came to one of these meetings, but I wanted to show up and not prepared.
And we appreciate it.
But just show up and say, hey, I'm here and let's have a conversation. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Did I say we can ask a question or no that's related to it, or do we don't want to? Okay.
Any other citizens that would like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to continue to discuss item number 12.
So moved.
Second. So we get this on the item 5, okay? Anybody second?
I do.
Thank you, Dave. All right, any questions from the council?
Well, first of all, it'll be 3 weeks, I guess, Tuesday, that we went over, I went over to Bel Air Shores. I didn't speak at that meeting at Bel Air Shores about the gates. I let the mayor do it, I promised the mayor I wouldn't speak about it. It was agreed by all council members there that there would be a 3-foot chain installed right away so we could get pedestrian access. That still hasn't happened. All right? Although, when Helene came up, you locked the gates on the 26th that day. We were able to buy a lock that day.
Point of order.
Frank, you don't need to direct your comments directly to him. I think
I'm not directing anything, I'm directing it to the audience.
Good.
You're assuming I'm directing it to him, all right?
You know what, I'm sorry, I was in error here because whoever made the motion is the person who starts. So that's you.
I would just say, can we be civil when we're having conversation? Just keep this a civil conversation.
I am being civil, I'm
The
stating
yelling at our
fact.
neighbors is not the way to handle things, so.
So I made the motion to continue the conversation because I think that we are geographically locked between Bel Air Beach and Bel Air Shores. We are neighbors for the good of being neighbors. I think that the idea of coming up with an agreement and coming up with an understanding of how do we work together and how do we do so in a civil manner is the only appropriate model to move forward with. And I think it requires some conversation, and I think it requires some compromise on both sides. Yes, do I want to see the pedestrian gate open? Sure I do. Was it locked on Monday morning? Sure it was. But this is the kind of thing that we need to work through and come up with a civil discourse to come up with the rest of it.
I'm all for civil behavior too, but when you stick it to me and stick it to my constituents and this council, you're not being too civil. All right? This city.
I don't think council member Hunt was
finished.
I don't think he was finished.
Well, I wasn't finished either.
You finished?
I'm finished.
Okay. I think we need to focus on the following, if you don't mind, in that we've already identified that Vice Mayor from Bel Air Shores is going to be representing them. Our Mayor Gaddis is going to be representing our city in order to get together with probably the legal counsel from both cities to try to work through an agreeable MOU on how to handle this. So that's really what we're talking about tonight. We don't have to go back in history.
Mr. West,
about things that
point of
happened.
order. The gates are still locked.
I just told you what we're focused on tonight.
Okay, but the gates are still locked even though their council said, get a chain. You have one guy, okay, or two people that are saying, the hell with that chain. Now, what are you going to do? Just keep kissing their ass? Because that's what it comes down to here. I'm sick of it.
This is not appropriate. This is.
What is appropriate, Ms. Shaw? What is appropriate? Having yourself locked out of your own demon access?
Stop talking.
Is that appropriate?
I'll tell you what's not appropriate. What is not appropriate is that this council's agenda is being driven by people outside of this group. Threats of litigation have pushed this to our agenda tonight. And this is at a time when we are recovering from a very devastating storm. We have serious issues in this community. We have issues about easements, we have issues about storm recovery, we have issues about mitigating what's going to happen in the future. And this question about the access has been pushed forward because of threats. And I think
You proposed, when I said that we needed to send a letter to them back in June, okay, you said, well, we don't know if they're locked, and we don't want to use our valuable resources to have our attorney draft a letter. You said that on the record.
yes, and
Okay, well, they're not locking.
but I don't think.
You don't mind the beach, so you don't
Right, one at a time. Let her talk and you can respond. Trying to talk over her is not effective.
I go to the beach several times a week, and if you don't see me, that doesn't mean I'm not there. And I want to thank Vice Mayor for coming today. I appreciate a reach out. We're neighbors. We want good relationships with our neighbors. What everyone has experienced over the last several years has kind of harmed the psyche almost of everybody in this community. And we want to be able to reach out to you guys and have good relationships. So thank you for being here. Thank you for conversations that's going to take place in the future. But I will say that this particular issue, in my mind, is not of the same priority of so many of the other important issues that we're trying to deal with. And we're taking resources away from those other issues in terms of time and attention, attorney time. We'll follow whatever agenda is chosen here, but I would like our agenda to be driven by this panel and not because of outside threats.
How about our Constitution? You have any?
I have a very good understanding of the Constitution. I am licensed in 3 states to practice law.
Then why don't you get involved with the people here and saying their constitutional rights are being violated by not getting to the wet sands?
I'm not going to debate that in this forum right now, and I think that this is going in the wrong direction.
Again, I'm going to say one more time, the intent, I believe, of this agenda item is to have this council select our mayor to be the person representing us.
Absolutely.
With their vice mayor to get together and put together a MOU that they both work through along with our legal counsels for both cities. And when you're comfortable, vice mayor, and our mayor is comfortable with that document, that's the goal. That's really what we're trying to get to. And then at that point, both of our cities, I'm sure, you'll go to your city and say, this is what I'm comfortable with. And Mayor Gaddis will come to our city and say, this is what we agreed upon. And that's still going to probably be a working document. There's probably going to be input from your team that may make some recommended changes. And there may be some from our team as well that will require another meeting to get those things ironed out. We don't know how many of those meetings it may take, hopefully not too many, that both sides agree, and then we can move forward and everybody's comfortable. That's really what we're working towards.
The mayor would like to speak.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mayor Gaddis.
Yes, just so everyone knows, this was a starting point.
Yes.
What I presented this evening was something for everyone to consider, including City Attorney Trask. To look this over and tell me what's wrong with it, what's incorrect, what could use some tweaking, but also to give the council the opportunity to look it over and say, well, I don't like that, or I think it's a great idea. It's something that we can present to Bel Air Shore and maybe put an end to all of this fighting between our two communities, because I do understand some of their points. I also totally understand our points. It's just that a lot of times I feel that that they take an extreme position whenever it may not be necessary, and it's because of the, as Kim stated, the current atmosphere between our two communities. This isn't something that we set up. This is something that has been going on now for several years. And I would love to put an end to this and become good neighbors and actually be able to wave whenever we're on the beach and not have people upset every time that we come across the access. I'm doing what I can, and I'm hoping that the council agrees that this is the correct direction to go. At the end of the day, if we're able to come to some sort of an agreement, it still has to come in front of all of you. You can still shoot it down if you hate it. If you love it, you can vote it up. You know, it's just we have to go through the process, and the last thing that I want to do is keep getting interferences every time that happens. So now what I'm asking is that we move forward with this document, do some tweaking on our end, and we meet. You allow me to meet with Vice Mayor Story and our attorneys, and we try to hash this out, and then we'll see what happens. But as it stands right now, it's counterproductive to make accusations and come off with hostilities whenever our neighbor is actually here to try to work with us. I appreciate Vice Mayor Story being here also, and I'm sorry to hear about his brother, and I hope that the council will allow me to move forward with this.
May I suggest that each council member review this, send comments that you have to Kyle Riegler. Kyle can then forward those on to our mayor, and he can then set up an appointment with Vice Mayor Story and get this document finalized in an acceptable avenue that would suit both cities. But we have to agree to moving forward, and I think if you have comments to make about the document as it's drafted, it just needs to go to Dave, to Kyle, and Kyle will get those to Dave, so Dave knows how to proceed.
I would also like to ask that Tom, I haven't heard anything from you about this document. Have you had time to review it at all?
I have reviewed it. I do have some suggested comments. I don't really think it's appropriate to do it in an open meeting. And so what I'd like to do is to provide you with my red line comments. I mean, if the council wants to give me their comments as well, you know, maybe I can address those at the same time.
All right, thank you. And what I'm going to ask is that once I receive everyone's comments, I will compile this. I'll put it back to you, Tom, and you just make sure you give it a once-over. I will take it to Vice Mayor Story, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, there's some differences in the way things are worded. I see them worded one way in the documents, the original documents, and they see them a different way. Maybe you can shed some light on that for us. And then we can include that in our discussion.
We'll do.
And I understand, Councilmember Shirley, what you're asking for there. Is my only thought was that we may actually request changes that never maybe would have already been taken care of when Vice Mayor Story and Mayor Gaddis get together. So I don't know how much value at this time. Obviously, our legal counsel is going to look over it and make those changes. My only recommendation may be that after Vice Mayor Story and Mayor Gaddis get together, that they get to something that they think is very close, and then give to us where we can make any additional changes that maybe would have already been made by them. I don't know. So if you feel more comfortable going ahead and putting that information in now?
I was thinking as an effort to move it forward faster, because there seems to be an urgency, you know, for those that use those accesses, so trying to move it forward faster. And maybe the people that it affects mostly would have more comments than maybe I would. I think the way it's drafted is fine. I probably have no input on making any changes. So, and I think that might be true for budget council, but there's maybe one or two that would have another opinion, so give them the opportunity to voice those opinions and give them, you know, some input in what is presented to Bel Air Shores.
So I think I wouldn't do a motion for Dave to continue forward. We would really just submit comment, and then we need to give the mayor permission to carry it to the next.
That's the only thing we need to take a vote on, I think. So we can just do a voice vote on that, if you guys are okay with that, regarding us approving Mayor Gaddis being our representative to meet with Vice Mayor Story, Bel Air's representatives, to work through this process.
One question. Am I the only one who heard him say that this won't fly? What's being presented?
I was just wanting a little clarity, but I felt like there was a lot of commonality. I think there was something about maybe some words and deeds and names and stuff, which I honestly, I didn't get to see the memorandum.
Keeping in mind that it's just a starting document.
Yeah. So I think there was more alignment than.
Well, how do you comment on something that won't fly?
Well, I think you should still, if you see personally some things that you're not happy with, I think you should feel comfortable in providing that information. So we can put a time limit on that. What do you guys think is comfortable?
A couple of days, it shouldn't take long.
So by the end of the day, Friday, you could provide whatever comments or changes that you would like to recommend, each of us, and that will go to you, Kyle? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you could please send us an editable version in Word, so that we can put our comments in the document. And then we can be able to track documents. And I think also, at least right now, we're editing a document that may change, and may change significantly in concept. So with that understanding, I think we can just submit a few things.
And then Kyle would get that information to Tom, so that he can look at those things and incorporate that in from a legal standpoint, what may or may not be appropriate.
If I may offer this, one of the primary ones that I looked at is that as drafted, it has an initial term, and I would suggest that it be an ongoing agreement unless modified in writing. So we don't have to go back after a certain period of time.
All right, let's do a quick voice vote on all those in favor of allowing Mayor Gaddis to represent us in the discussions and putting together the MOU with regards to Bel Air Shores. Say aye.
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 All opposed? It's unanimous, thank you. I would give you another opportunity, sir. Vice Mayor Story, I know you were raising your hand there. You got something? You good? Sure.
And man, my word, I want to not make excuses, but as I had mentioned with my younger brother, my plans changed. And I actually had spoke to Deputy Trump earlier and asked, it's not anyone else's job to do it, but I asked if we leaving, did anybody else do it? So he just told me prior to you actually speaking up, Frank, that it had not been done yet. And I also told him before you spoke up that I would get it taken care of if I get there tonight, or I would take care of it first thing tomorrow. My intention was not to not do it. Like I said,
3 years.
Yes, if you heard the number of days, my brother went in for 20 days.
You're not the only man in Bel Air Shores.
Right, which is why I said, I asked if someone else had done it, but I'm going to take full responsibility because I did say that I would do it.
Thank you.
Yep, so, and I intend to do that. There was no intention, my intention was not to not do it. I had told everybody I would do it. I always do what I say I'm going to do. I think everyone assumed it was done. And, you know, and that's my fault. I should have delegated it. So that was all I was going to comment on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Vice Mayor Story. Mayor Gaddis, are you good with that?
I am good, thank you so much.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the city council comments.
We should be doing the unfinished business first.
Yeah, I don't know why it was in a different order there. We can switch that, yeah. Although we approve the agenda, but it's not a big deal. Seems like I agree that it makes more sense for unfinished business first. So we'll do that. Is there any unfinished business from the council? Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to address the misappropriation of funds, which I believe is being used from our city. I'm making a motion tonight to stop the misappropriation of taxpayers' funds of our Public Works Department to the town of Bel Air Shores. The town of Bel Air Shores has repeatedly sought our assistance of our Public Works Department and equipment since my tenure on council, without any reimbursement to our city. Fact, nowhere in our budget, past or present, is an allocation of funds to be used for Bel Air Shores. Fact, Bel Air Shores arbitrarily took away our rights to issue citations of illegal conduct in our 3 access lots, which generated revenue to our city for years for purposes of maintaining our beach access lots. Fact, Bel Air Shores for over 2 years denied by ordinance our residents the right to temporary shade while using our beach access points, placing our residents at risk from proven harmful rays from the sun. Fact, Bel Air Shores has denied by ordinance equal rights of our residents of beach usage throughout the Bel Air Shores jurisdiction. Fact, Bel Air Shores removed safety buoys off our beach access lots and jurisdictions, placing our residents at risk of high-speed watercraft. Fact, Bel Air Shores prints parking passes to whoever they choose to park in our lots, regardless of residency or not, which further violates their own existing ordinance. Fact, Bel Air Shores has locked our residents out of our beach access lots after sunset and not reopened them until daylight, which is denying our constitutional access to the wet sands. Therefore, if Bel Air Shores seeks to use our Public Works Department, a fee of 30% above our total compensation and wage package, along with a fair day rental for any equipment used, will be addressed and agreed by Bel Air Shores before work begins. I ask someone from this council, which we are all stewards of the collected tax revenues of the people of Bel Air Beach, to support this motion to defer further misappropriation of the people of Bel Air Beach's taxes. Can I get a second? I didn't think so.
Any other unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll go to the city council comments. I'm basically going to go in reverse alphabetical order because I always felt bad for those people that their names started with like Z or W, you know, they were always last. So tonight, we're going to go with Council Member Wellings first.
I feel like it was got a little derailed today, but I hope Bel Air Shores and the community doesn't think this is normally how meetings go. And much more civil and organized. So I do appreciate people that stood up and commented today. Thank you for your inputs. And maybe just one question, I think, for Kyle. I think the only thing was that Councilmember Baker mentioned here that resonated a little bit with was the comment about us helping Bel Air Shores with removing some sign buckets or something like that. And you told me that was a very minor thing, and we weren't going to bother asking for any reimbursement for that. That was like an hour's worth of work or something like that we offered to, just in good community spirit, right?
Yeah, and that was only with the express permission in writing from.
Were you going to ask us permission to do that?
From you afterwards, so I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. But yeah, the idea, it would have probably taken like 30 minutes, if that, you know, but.
Alright. Well, anyway, so yeah, thank you, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Shirley.
Nothing further.
Councilmember Shaw Elliott.
It's unfortunate that a lot of the people have left, but I was very pleased to see people in attendance at this meeting. It's been a long time since we've kind of had nobody showing up, and I hope there's renewed interest in people witnessing what's happening in their own community and participating and providing input. So I thank all of you for being here. Thanks very much.
Councilmember Harper.
I guess my comments really deal with the idea that the council has a tremendous number of topics on its plate, whether it's drain management or check valves or fire station or beach access. There are a number of things that are important to what we do on a daily basis. My biggest concern with the council right now is I feel like we are in slow motion at times. I feel like there are topics that are brought up in May, which we're still talking about in October, and other topics. So my only ask of the council as we move forward is the idea that we speak of things with the idea of a sense of urgency and a sense of determination of coming to some closure and not just dragging things forward. So that's my comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Banker.
Yes, I apologize tonight to the city of Bel Air Beach and my fellow council members for not lashing out more against Bel Air Shores. That's it.
I just want to thank everybody tonight. I enjoyed sitting in the seat that the mayor normally is sitting in. So thank you. Mayor Gaddis, you still there?
I am, and I'd just like to thank you for chairing this meeting today and keeping the meeting civil. I appreciate every one of you, and I still think this is the greatest council ever. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight. My vacation wraps up tomorrow, and I'm headed back to Bel Air Beach. So I appreciate everyone's hard work, and I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish in the future. So everyone have a good night, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Is that a hula dancer behind you there?
You know, I'm the only one who can call Wendy a hula dancer.
All right, thank you, sir. I need a motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Frank. Motion for adjournment, second?